From the Fans Talk Podcast family at fanstalkpodcast.com, this is episode number 32 of Fans Talk TNA. This week, we're going to cover the move to Wednesdays. This is going to be the June 3rd, 2015 episode of Impact Wrestling on Destination America, as well as the rest of the news and notes that happened this week. My name is Garvin. With us, as always, is Nick. Say hello, Nick.
What's going on, Daddy?
Daddy. If you enjoy this episode and want to hear more, you can find us at fanstalktna.com. We've got the full archive there, all the subscription links, and definitely check out patreon.com/fanstalk. That's your most direct way to show us your support. It allows you to give us a little donation each and every month, which is greatly appreciated. All right, so let's just dive right into what happened this week on Impact Wrestling. This was the debut for us, as far as in the U.S., to seeing the Pope on commentary. So, Nick, what do you think about the Pope?
I don't think I want him to be the permanent partner for Josh. I like the enthusiasm, but something about the combination just isn't clicking with me. I don't think he brings enough gravity to the situation.
To me, it was just the overuse of Daddy that made it more of like an exaggeration. So, like, one of our complaints in Lucha Underground is just how much Vampiro uses the term brother. Like, every sentence he says brother, and it's too much. It's too much hearing it over and over again. And that's all we got from the Pope, was just at the end of like every other sentence was Daddy. So it's just weird. So
yeah, I've gotten inured to that just from listening to the Bullet Club, specifically Gallows and Anderson, just brother every other word.
Yeah,
and I know it's a rib, so everything else seems to just pale in comparison.
Yeah, so I don't know. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the Pope. I thought he did bring a good energy. Did they gel well? No, not necessarily. But if our choice is Mike Tenay or Al Snow or the Pope, I'm all for the Pope. I think he by far felt the most comfortable there.
I'm curious as to when or if they'll ever try JB on commentary.
There's got to be a reason why they don't. I don't know if it's just I don't know. I don't. It can't be it can't be a chemistry thing. I'm just wondering if there's not enough difference between the characters. I mean, obviously Borash is very pro face. Josh Matthews seems to be very pro face. So maybe it's just two faces on commentary. That's kind of odd. I don't know.
I felt like Josh has been getting more heelish since Taz left. Like, he's been taking over some of the stuff. Like, his fanboyism for EC3 now. There's a couple of other moments where he'll lean heel-wise. But I'm maybe JB just does too much other stuff. Like, he basically is their go-to man backstage.
Yeah, so. And I don't know. I don't necessarily get that Josh Matthews is more of a heel. I mean, the impression I get is it's not that, he agrees with EC3 and what and condones everything that EC3 does, but it's more or less a EC3 deserves to be the number one contender. He's undefeated. That's something that we shouldn't ignore. So
yeah, I could see that.
All right, so yeah, this week few stories continue to get progress. The first one, BDC versus The Rising, a 3-on-3 match. The Rising win, and that was it. That was the only segment for this. It felt kind of weird, going from weeks upon weeks of this being like the main story to now them barely getting any TV time. It's just kind of odd. Do you think TNA has grown sour, or are they just trying to save up some of the energy so that it's not all, pushed through so quickly?
I think it's more the latter. I think they realize that they just ran this thing down our throats too much, too fast. And I don't know if they're waiting on Homicide to get back, or if they have some other development for a new guy for The Rising that the stars aren't aligning on that yet. but it does seem like they're stalling for something.
Yeah.
In the meantime, it was nice to see the Rising get a win. I'd rather we saw a little bit more from Drake and Micah. Like, Micah wasn't even a factor in that match, aside from keeping one of the BDC outside the ring while Galloway got the pin. And Drake just got beat on for the duration of the match. So I wish we could get a little bit more from them.
Yeah. It'd be nice to see how they all work together to make the team better. Yeah, it does feel like Micah barely does anything, and Drew saved the day. So yeah. All right. So let's. I suppose we do need to spend some time on the James Storm versus Magnus feud. It continued this week in a set of video packages that were filmed in quote unquote Nashville. Basically, if you remember last week, James Storm set up those meetings with the media moguls about getting Mickie James better involved in the music industry. She showed up for the meeting. Only James Storm was there. No one else was there. And that's when James Storm tried to basically get Mickie James to join the Revolution. So I think this was the idea that you thought that they were going to go with, right? As far as him asking her to join the Revolution.
Yeah, essentially. Yeah. I think it went a little bit further than that. Basically asking her to leave Magnus and be his girl and like have Donovan be their son.
Yeah.
Like he basically went the whole nine and then some.
Yeah, it went into creep mode. And then, I don't know. I love the segment. I love the reaction that Mickie James had to the whole thing. I think this works so well. So basically, she rejected the invite into the Revolution, but then I'm not sure exactly what they implied here. Just because like commentary really didn't say anything about it. It was kind of left for us to make our own judgments on. But basically, they were walking out together and in like a train station, and James Storm pushed her off of the landing onto the tracks. So if you read Reddit, they killed her off. But I don't know if I agree with that. It was almost like an injury, but I could see how it was implied that she died. What did you take from this, man?
After a little bit of thought, I think Storm's doing this for Magnus's benefit. I think we're probably going to get the story that the Revolution rigged up something so that it looked like Storm sent Mickie to her death, but what they're actually doing is taking her out to Storm's barn for what's what I'm looking for? Indoctrination.
Yeah.
And like Storm's just gonna mess with Magnus for a little while, making him think he killed her and left Donovan motherless, and just really get in his head something fierce so that when Mickie does come back, and then because of all the indoctrination going on, she turns on him, it makes the hurt that much more.
I like that thought. Do you think that TNA went too far because they didn't talk about it at all? That they left it so open-ended?
I don't think so, because I would say they'd be incredibly hesitant to actually, in kayfabe, kill somebody off, but then apparently now it's not that unusual to see a wrestler get killed off in kayfabe.
2 in 1 week, man.
Yeah. I don't think they went too far, because realistically, we know she's not dead. And Storm has been playing a cultist mastermind here. So I highly doubt that he would have just taken Mickey's no and then completely flipped on her like Phantom of the Opera style. I think it's okay to expect that he's got more of a plan here.
Yeah, there has to be something more. He can't just attempt to kill her off to get at Magnus or something like that. Just knowing what they've done with the Revolution, as far as like all their video packages and whatnot, there's always like something else happening that makes it a little bit more intriguing. So yeah, I don't know. I just the fact that they left it so open ended was just weird.
Yeah.
Especially after what happened at the end of Lucha Underground last week. So all right, so tag team championships. We got the third match of the best of five. Basically, before this match, Aries was going after Rude, saying that they had to be like really be the dirty heels if they were gonna win this. And Rude seemed pretty reluctant to go the full heel route, but we saw that wasn't the case by the end of the match. That is the direction that they went, as far as Rude using the chair, Aries causing the win because of a distraction. So overall, is this more intriguing for you now that the dirty heels are that group, that those characters that we remember them being last time around?
Absolutely. I think I won't say Rude's been getting stale, but he hasn't been getting used as much. And this is a great way to reintroduce both him and Aries back into a little more of the limelight. I was kind of scared during the match that Aries was just going to go so far off the deep end that he got them disqualified, end the series right there, and then we're going to get Aries versus Rude.
Yeah.
But the way Rude transitioned from, no, we can't do that. Not only is he looking right at us, that'll get us disqualified and we'll lose. And then he goes full on heel, low blow, steel chair. And after the match, Aries is grinning at him. Rude looks like he's so conflicted. And then he gets that big grin and says, we're back. I love that moment.
Yeah, that was great. So, yeah, I think this makes this a lot more interesting. This makes me want the full five matches, because, just to have Rude and Aries back in their element, back using the characters that, we really enjoyed. I think that works so well, because we really haven't seen them be successful since the Dirty Heels broke up. Rude was getting kind of boring. Aries was getting kind of boring. So to have this come back to this point, I think is a good sign.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, all right. After that, we've got the knockouts. There's pretty much two active feuds happening right now. The first active feud is the Dollhouse versus Brooke, Rebel, Gale, Awesome Kong. And then we also have Madison Rain and Angelina Love now both going up against Velvet Sky. Which of these two feuds are you liking better?
I'm not exactly sure, because the beautiful people infighting seems like it has potential.
Potential for what?
Potential to be the more interesting story going forward, but
okay.
It's stuck on Velvet still technically being a fan, and Angelina and Madison both harping on that fact. I thought it was kind of funny that Angelina had that turned around on her by company security
right
at the end of it, but I do like that Brooke and Rebel being a team is becoming a thing. I doubt it'll go much further, other than when Gail gets back, maybe they join her for 6 knockout tag action. But yeah, I do like both stories right now. I think they're all right, but I do hope we get more advancement and something a little more interesting out of each.
Yeah, I'm not too pleased with the way the Velvet Sky story has been going so far. An authority figure would be nice here, for sure. Just to kind of explain like what's happening and why this is acceptable. But I think I was really disappointed because of Madison Rain's involvement. It was semi-hyped up that this was like Madison Rain uncensored. And I think people were expecting her to, do something, controversial or provocative of some sort. But we did. It was just kind of really lame. It almost started to go in a direction where you thought, yeah, she's right. She's attacking the way that women are depicted, but instead of continuing to push that side of it, it was like a brief sentence or two, and then Velvet Sky is taking up her time on TV. And yeah, so I don't know. I was disappointed with how that all worked out. I'm still not interested in the Angelina Love versus Velvet Sky bit. So yeah, I don't know. But I am okay with the Dollhouse. I am starting to turn to enjoy it. I enjoy Taryn Terrell's promos now. Just like the weird, almost psychotic way that she speaks now. And she says, like, just the way she says the Dollhouse, like, this is my house, the Dollhouse. And I don't know, for some reason, I'm starting to come around and liking how she's working the role.
Yeah, I think I'm right there in that boat with you. Real quick, you mentioned that an authority figure would really make the whole beautiful people angle a lot more coherent.
Yeah.
Do you think company security getting sent out after Angelina Love might be an indicator that might be on the horizon?
Well, I think there's two things that suggest that we're going to get an authority figure. The first was that, yeah, for sure, just because it's someone had to send them out. But then there's the other side of it. EC3 had a phone call with Dixie's. I think that was one of the first times that they brought Dixie back into a story, not just mentioning her, but mentioning in a phone call and having her make a decision in a story. So I think really that's the first time we've seen it since hashtag it happened. So
yeah, I think you're right.
Hopefully that does, because I'm okay with Dixie Carter on TV. I think Dixie Carter in an authority role would work. It would be okay. So we'll see. But yeah, I think it would make a lot of stories feel better, more easy to follow. So. But speaking of EC3 and Dixie Carter, we had quite a few things happening in the world title race. Obviously, you've got EC3. This was his celebration of officially becoming the number one contender, making it clear that he wanted to fight Angle. They might have dropped the Slammiversary date, but I don't know if that was suggested or not, if I just made that up. But the major story this week was Spud. What is Spud going to do? Is he going to cash in the X Division Championship? Pretty much, I think we had four or five segments that were just about that specifically. Is he going to cash it in? What his thoughts were about it? What other people's thoughts were about it? It was just kind of interesting how much focus they put on Spud, but at the end of the day, Spud did cash in. Spud is now going to face Kurt Angle at Destination X, which is next week. So let's talk about that first. Spud versus Angle. Do you like the match? Do you like that Spud cashed in? Or do you think this is a mistake?
I think this is a mistake purely for the X Division side of things. Spud lost the belt because the BDC robbed him. Homicide got involved, and Kenny King won the belt off him. Not long after, Spud wins the belt back off of Kenny King in a gauntlet match. And not even 2 weeks later, he's cashing it in, discarding the X Division belt for a shot at Angle.
Yep.
Which, call me crazy, but I highly doubt that Spud will beat Angle. I think they'll manage to make it interesting and entertaining. I think maybe we'll see some stuff out of Spud that we haven't seen before. But there is no way in hell Spud is beating Angle. Like they pointed out, Angle has easily 100 pounds on the guy.
Yeah.
And Spud has had entertaining matches, but we haven't seen that much pure wrestling ability out of him. And there is nobody better right now than Angle is when it comes to that. So, yeah, as far as Spud goes, I think it was a mistake. I think we need a long-term X Division champion. Hopefully we'll get that with the next guy.
Agreed. Josh Matthews echoed that. Aries echoed that. Angle, I think, at one point echoed that. So yeah, I'm with you. I I think it was a mistake. I would not just because of the improbability of Spud in story to beat Angle, but just the fact that, once again, the X division gets pushed to the side, and TNA keeps saying how the X division is going to be highlighted and the X division is going to be made important again. That's what the fans want, and that's not what we're getting. Like, I don't understand where the confusion is, where the disagreement is between TNA and its fans on what it actually means to make the X division important. So, but you don't feel like Spud can beat Angle, but even if he does beat Angle, that's not your main event for Destination X. Your main event for Destination X is Austin Aries cashing in to face the winner. Thoughts?
I think Aries versus Angle will be a great match. My potential enjoyment of that is tempered by who he's cutting in front of and the fact that he is not anywhere near alone in that situation. I suppose it's just as well that we get the cash in out of the way so we can focus on the tag team series with him. But yeah, I just, with both Spud and Aries cutting in front of EC3, that kind of soured me because I'm really anxious to see EC3 go up against Angle.
Okay, so what about this? What about this story? What if Spud defeats Angle somehow? Okay. What if Spud defeats Aries so that your Slammiversary main event is Spud versus EC3 for the title?
That would be wonderful story-wise.
It would be.
That, however, is the epitome of fantasy booking. Totally,
but it's possible.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't have figured he beat Kenny King as soon as he did. So, technically, it's possible.
And realistically, at the end of the day, if we look at the last 6 months, the most entertaining story, the most entertaining feud that we've had by far was EC3 versus Spud, and they never really had like that finishing moment. Like you had the hair versus hair match when it was implied that EC3 was, giving respect to Spud only to, slap him in the face again. So this would be an epic opportunity for them to really finish that feud.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. They've definitely been the most entertaining. I just wonder if it wouldn't have been better to have World Heavyweight Champion EC3 versus X Division Champion Rockstar Spud at some point down the line.
That would have been good too, for sure. So, okay, the other major, well, not major, but the other feud that seems to be started is now Chris Melendez versus EY. So EY is officially, I think, out of the world title race and feuding with Chris Melendez. So definitely not the feud that I had in mind for EY, but I'm not completely against it either.
No, it should be interesting because Melendez seems like he's come along a little bit since his work with Anderson. He seems a little bit more serious on the mic now, a little more put together.
Yeah.
And it makes me wonder if that's translated to his ring work as well.
Yeah, he was a little off balance in the ring when he was diving for EY. I did notice that he was stumbling a bit. So I don't know if that's going to translate into his in-ring work. But yeah, definitely, it was definitely an upgrade in his mic skills. So that was good to see. So who knows? We'll see what happens. But yeah, that looks like your mid-card story for the next month or so, which is okay. Next week, again, is Destination X. We got Taryn Terrell versus Awesome Kong. Rockstar Spud versus Kurt Angle for the World Heavyweight Championship. And then in your main event, Austin Aries versus the winner of Spud versus Angle for the World Heavyweight Championship. What was your win of the week?
My win of the week is the Dirty Heels, just returning back to form. I think I won't say it's long overdue, but it's definitely more entertaining than what either of them has been doing this far.
Yeah, I think my win of the week is going to go to Spud on the mic. I thought Spud on the mic this week was really compelling, really just so much emotion. I don't know. Spud is just a solid guy in the ring when they actually let him wrestle. Like this week when he wrestled with Angle, in that tag team match, I thought there was great signs there as far as his energy, as far as his momentum, and then that closing promo when he cashed in, I thought that was just a fantastic promo. What about fail? What was your fail of the week?
It's got to be everybody cutting in line ahead of EC3. I was so looking forward to him going head to head with Angle going into Slammiversary, and we could still get that in the couple weeks after next. But I don't know if it feels a little bit lesser somehow when you think about it like that. They only have 2 weeks to build that up. It's not like it's a completely fresh feud. Like they have gone at it before. EC3 owns wins over him. That's why he's a hardcore American icon. Right. But yeah, I just wish they'd had a solid month unbroken just to build this up.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with that. I think overall, an Angle versus EY match would be excellent, especially if built up really well. I think. I'm sorry. Did I say EY?
Yeah, you did.
EC3 and Angle. I think that would be a fantastic main event for Slammiversary if it was built up for the entire month, like you said. I'm not necessarily looking forward to the idea of EC3 versus Aries. There's just nothing there for me for some reason. I don't know. I'm just not into that. But I do like the idea of Spud defying odds, being the ultimate underdog and winning, and facing EC3 at Slammiversary for the title. I think that'd be pretty sweet. So, but my fail though is not necessarily contradictory. I hope, but it's just the fact that he cashed in. I think I love the segment. I love the energy. I just hate that they went to this well once again. I think they could have told a great story going the complete opposite. Especially if this is just going to end up with Spud losing. If Spud's cashing in to lose, I don't need to see that. I don't want to see that. So, yeah. All right. Well, any final thoughts before we head out?
Nope. That's it.
Okay. Well, thank you for joining the conversation once again. If you're listening on YouTube, you can continue the conversation in the comments. Definitely leave a like. Also, find us on Facebook, Google+, Twitter. We're everywhere, and definitely want to continue these conversations with you. You can also head on over to fanstalktna.com for all of those links. You can also get the full archive and a link to our Patreon account. Please, if you can spare a couple dollars a month, help us out. Subscribe. You can get early access to shows just like this. We also release some exclusive content just to our Patreon subscribers throughout the month. So, yeah, definitely, if you can, subscribe. And that's it. Hopefully you enjoyed this week's Impact. Next week, Destination X should be awesome. We'll see. And we'll see you next week. Later.
Now let's go.